Hi guys. It's been a few days since the giveaway winner video, giveaway winners, and I wanted to update you on things in my life, show you that I did fix those painted alcohol images. That was the first time I painted with alcohol inks. I still haven't found out what's wrong with my alcohol blending solution pen. Somebody commented and suggested that either I filled it too much or maybe I didn't have the nibs in all the way, and I did double check the nibs, so unless they're super strong and I can't push them all the way back in, it's got to be that I filled it too much. Updates on my life. I'll just put these up for you guys to look at while I'm talking. My mother was transferred to a physical rehab / nursing home. I don't know if I told you guys this before, but unfortunately it's the same place where my grandmother lived out like the last 6 months of her life and passed away in it earlier this month. So that's got to be freaking my mother out a little bit. Anyway, she went there around 5 o'clock on Tuesday evening, and this morning I got a phone call. Well, I mean, right now it's technically Thursday, but Wednesday in the morning, I got a text from my father that said that my mother was leaving the rehab and going back to the hospital due to a high blood pressure and even higher heart rate. When I texted my mother, she told me she might have fluid on her lungs. She must have been wrong about that because they wouldn't have sent her back. But I texted my father this evening. He said she was all settled in and back at the rehab, which was a good thing because she could have lost her room if she was at the hospital any longer than she was, and they would have had to wait all over again. But my father said the crazy thing is she wanted to stay in the hospital. She didn't want to go back to the rehab even though she was getting better. And I told him I think it's because, Nana died there. That's where her mother died, and not too long ago. It's got to be putting some anxiety in her. So we'll see what happens. So right now, after that little scare and stressing me even harder that she was back in the hospital, she's doing a little bit better again. Update on the vehicle. I'm pretty sure, knock on wood, I'm knocking on wood, you hear that? That our approval is going to go through tomorrow, that I finally saved enough for the down payment, because I still owe on the vehicle I have, but we want to downsize. I want something newer, and it's got to be, you guys all know how it works. That old loan's got to be rolled into the new one, so it was just a matter of making sure enough money was saved up for the down payment and making sure that the payment every month was something I could still afford. If I do get it, it is a Chevy Traverse. I think it's a 2016. So we'll find out tomorrow. Okay, so before I show you what I did to fix those images that I painted with the pens and the paintbrushes, I was messing around with the alcohol pearl inks and some regular alcohol inks, of course. So I did this background. Some of them are normal colors. The purple, the sherbet, and I think that's even cracked pistachio in there. Maybe streamer mermaid pool. I'm not sure what I used because I wasn't concentrating on the colors. And then we have some of that smolder alcohol ink pearl thrown in there, and I really like the difference in color, the separation of color that smolder gave. I don't know if you can see it, but if you look at the smolder, especially that one on the top left there, you can see it. It's iridescent a little bit. You see that pearlization, if that's even a word. This glitter you see on here, I was experimenting with the glitter duster and the Simon Says Stamp unicorn dust glitter. So I put that on there when it was still wet. Now this one was done on Yupo paper. I did mess around with the back because I hate wasting a whole back on Yupo paper, so sometimes if I'm making just backgrounds and I'm not sure what I want, I'll do something on each side so I have choices. That one you'll definitely see in a future card. I love it. Then I did this one with some greens and yellows. I think dandelion, citrus, and a little bit of that Sublime Pearl alcohol ink. And then when it was still wet, I used some gold foil, gold and red foil on it. And then on the back, this one I didn't like so much the way it turned out, but I had some oranges, some reds, and some of that, I don't remember what the pink is called, but it was the pearl one. And then I put some gold Gina K foil on it that came in a previous Simon Says stamp kit. And as you can see, I did use this to cut out some sentiments. And then we have, that one was also on Yupo. Oh, I forgot to, oh yeah, I did show you the back. Never mind, I'm losing my mind. This one was done on glossy cardstock. And this had some sunset, the yellow sunset I think it's called, some dandelion, and a mixture of red and orange. And then I put some red foil on there. So all these will be backgrounds eventually. I do have a stack that's starting to build up, so I'll have to do some cards. In fact, I think I might make that my next video. I'm going to do some cards with backgrounds I've made from alcohol inks and stuff, and we'll just make some cards out of those. You guys let me know if there's anything specific you'd like to see in the comments below, and I'll make that happen. But we got to use, it's got to be a video. Your suggestions have to be using these backgrounds. And this one's another one on glossy cardstock, and I used some of that celestial blue pearl ink and some reds, oranges, yellows, and I think there's even a little cracked pistachio in there, unless that's a mixture of the colors together. And then this one I used the glitter duster as well, and I thought that one turned out kind of cool. As you guys know, I'm not very good when it comes to alcohol ink because I don't like it that I have no control over it. Okay, so I did cut this little peacock guy that I painted with my alcohol pen and my alcohol inks, and he turned out kind of cute. I didn't end up using him because I had everything put away, and as you can see, I missed one little spot there and there. I had meant to go in there with different colors to alternate, and I forgot. So I'll fix him, and I will use him eventually. So the first one we did, if you guys remember, I had accidentally dropped something on there that caused the alcohol ink to bleed, but I fixed it by covering it up. So we have a blue card base. I think this is Basil cardstock that I had bought for Christmas cards. And then I used a piece of turquoise cardstock to mat it, and I used my wonky stitch die to cut that out, and then I put it on there. And then the center panel is Yupo, and I popped it up on foam tape. And then I stamped out the peacock feathers with Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink, and then used my paint brushes to try and fill those in with different colored alcohol inks. Then I splattered it with some of the leftover pink alcohol ink. God, I don't remember the name of it. It's too far away to make you guys wait. But it was one of the pearl ones, and I had some left over that had a solution in it, the alcohol blending solution in it, so I just splattered it with the paintbrush like I would anything else that I was splattering. Took a piece of vellum, and I actually embossed that with this tiny little Sizzix embossing folder that came with my mini sidekick. And then I used that peacock with his wings folded down. He's also painted with alcohol ink. And the peacock has foam tape behind him to hold up him and the vellum. Then I stamped out "You Are Special" and separated it. Both of them are stamped out on vellum. And they're stamped out with VersaFine Clear and Nocturne ink. And then I carefully, very carefully, heat embossed them with clear embossing powder. And that's it for that card. Now if you remember, the peacock feathers and the peacocks came from this pretty pink posh stamp set, Peacock Friends. Now, for the second card, this is something we're going to work with together before I end this video. I ended up cutting the flowers out of that background completely because the blue background, even though I liked the way it turned out, did not match my flower colors. So I cut them out as well as I could. You can tell in some spots that some of the blue had seeped through, even though I heat embossed this with clear embossing powder. I use a piece of Lawn Fawn's watercolor cardstock from the 6x6 inch paper pad. I think it's called Watercolor Wishes. This is a couple years old. Something I've been hoarding because I just love the colors. I tried a couple different colors and the yellow looked the best. And then I used that hello that I told you guys I had cut out for another card and decided against it because it was too big, excuse me. Then I put some tiny little drops of the Nuvo Dream Drops in Dragon Scales. Now you guys, the last time I used these, I forgot. The Dream Drops are self-leveling, so I left these alone. And they really did. They really leveled out on their own. I'm really happy with that. No more whacking my cards against the desk. So before I move on to two more cards that I wanted to show you, we are going to experiment. You know what? I'm going to make you wait a second. Let me just show you those last two cards. So when I was messing around with backgrounds, playing around with backgrounds that I could use for those flowers, I had done this background with alcohol ink and some purples and pinks. This background is on glossy cardstock. I love how shiny it is. And then I used a whole bunch of leftover tiny pieces of Yupo, and then even out of some of the ones that I already had made that night. And I just dropped some color onto the leftover pieces of Yupo and cut out some flowers with a little tiny flower punch that I got from like a dollar bin somewhere. I glued all of those onto the background flat to the card with my Nuvo Deluxe glue. Then I cut out Crafty Hello with 2 layers of Nina 110 pound for each sentiment. And then the top layer is from this green alcohol inked background that I made. I glued those all together so they each have 3 layers total. Glued those flat to the card. Now that Crafty die came from Heffy Doodle, and the Hello die came from Sunny Studios. And then inside it says it's using one of those Tim Holtz stickers. She said that's a lot of money spent on crafts, and I knew we couldn't be friends because this is something I would send to a friend. I used all the extra flowers to decorate the corner. So that's it for that card. And then I did manage to use this stamp set from Neat and Tangled that I just ordered. And I made this guy, and I wasn't sure, I think I showed you guys this, but I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. I splattered this with the same pearl alcohol ink, the pink one that I used to splatter the other card. It didn't matter that it got on the bunnies, that wasn't the point. I used a scalloped border edge die from Lawn Fawn to cut the 2 sides. And then I used one of my skinny strips from Neat and Tangled and stamped out Get Excited in my party dress from Catherine Pooler ink and heat embossed it with clear embossing powder. And I thought that turned out super cute. And I think it was, my daughter said, "I don't get this, Mom." And I was like, well, that's the bunnies. You see the bunnies pulling the eggs right in a row. And I didn't want them to be lined up the same. And I like the way that turned out. I will play with those stamp sets some more. I still have, I'd like to use this one again. I still have this one to use. I mean, of course, I like to use them all again, but for you guys, I want to use the Exploding Block stencil and the Circle of Life stencil that I got from Heffy Doodle. And I will be doing that also. You guys let me know what you want to see first. Cards made with these, or do a video, not together, but, you know, instead of me just showing you the cards, do some cards with the backgrounds from the alcohol inks. Okay, now, I wish you guys were here to remind me. There's something else I want to tell you after we mess with this card. What I want to do with this card is take this hello got a little smudgy, if you can see it. Now this was foil cardstock, but when I was gluing the layers together, it got a little smudged. No matter how much I tried to wipe it off, it will not come off. I tried hand sanitizer, tried stamp cleaner on a wet cloth. Didn't work. So what we're going to do is we're going to use glossy accents on it. But I also want to use the glitter duster. And I finally want to try using the Clear Rock Candy Distress Glitter to make my own colored glitter, because you're supposed to be able to still see through it. It's supposed to be translucent still. So what we're going to do is I'm going to add a couple colors of this in the one first. If it's not a deep enough tone, I'll add a couple drops of this. So we have here Pink Sherbet, Wild Plum. And then, just to see, we're going to make one more. And because I want to try and see if the alcohol pearl inks still give that translucent quality, because these weren't out yet when Tim Holtz did his hack for the Christmas video, which is where I saw changing the color of the glitter. So I want to see if it's still translucent when you use this stuff in it. So I guess we'll find out together. So first, let's mix up some of the pink, because that's what we're going to be putting into the glitter duster. I'm just going to I'm not going to do a whole bunch, because dummy me, when I was cleaning my craft room, threw out all of my covered containers. So all I have is these little pour cups to put it in after I mix it. And I don't want the kids playing with it. So with my mother being in this rehab, she's going to be closer for me to visit. So instead of it taking 40 minutes to get there, it'll only take about 15 or 20, which is good for me, good for my bank account, and good for the mileage on my car, especially if I get the new one. All right, I think maybe a little bit. I'm just afraid that it'll be in the glitter duster and there won't be enough of it. I think that's enough, though. I have to grab my wooden stick. Okay. So let's see here. And I know he said it's supposed to clump up, but it will come apart. Definitely not pink enough. I don't want to put that in yet. I'm afraid it'll be too purple, and there's no purple on this card, so I don't want to turn it purple. It was just a backup plan. That is like a perfect color. Okay, so I'm going to grab a paper towel because I forgot you're supposed to lay it onto a paper towel. All right, here. The dog's over there snoring and making noises in her sleep. She's cracking me up. Okay. Can you guys see that? It is so pretty. I love that. So we're just gonna let this dry for a couple minutes while we mess with the green one, and then we'll put it in the glitter duster. But I do not want to knock it over, so we're gonna just set it over here. I'm gonna use the other end of my stick just in case. I'm also gonna clean this out and use the same cup because the other cup I grabbed, I've already used for alcohol ink. And I'm afraid it'll change the color. So Riley brought home a book today called Why Do Dogs Have Wet Noses? And we're only on the first chapter, but it asks what the smallest dog is. And the smallest dog is a Yorkshire Terrier. I forget, there's a guy in England, I think it was, that owned it. And she was 2.5 inches tall and 3 3/4 inches long from her nose to the tip of her tail, or the base of her tail. Unreal. I mean, I've never heard of a dog that small. And then the largest dog was like 383 pounds, an English Mastiff. Now I have Charlie, who's 3 months old now. She's an Italian Mastiff. But anyway, this was an English Mastiff, and it was 300, like I said, 308. It was either 363 or 383. 8.5 feet long, and I forget how tall, but the dog was huge. I also learned something else I never knew. That they say dogs can breed with dingoes, wolves, foxes. There's a couple other things they named, and that's why there's so many different looking dogs. That's where dogs came from. Just shaking up this pearl ink to make sure all the pearl stuff at the bottom that separates is all mixed in. We want to make sure that our experiment has, you know, the actual pearl ink in it. All right, here we go. Get to see if it stays translucent or not. We'll have to, of course, glue it onto something. I wonder how we're going to do that because I'm not putting it in the glitter duster. I mean, it is still alcohol ink, so it might be translucent. It might not. I don't know. I think I want it a tiny bit darker. Look at that. Isn't that just so pretty? Even laying on the top of the bottle. Okay, let's get this other stuff into the bottle. I'm like terrified I'm gonna spill it all over the place. Definitely don't want to do that. And I made sure that even though both of these would match this card, they would also match some Easter cards so that I don't have this stuff sitting around forever. Alright, so now I'm just going to flip this one the other way and put the green onto this. So this definitely sticks to the inside of the cup more. I don't know if it's the amount of alcohol ink I put in or the mixative that makes it look all pearlescent, but it definitely sticks to the cup more. All right. Okay, let's set that aside to dry. Let's put the top on this. All right, I definitely want to go with the pink because the whole point of me picking the pink was because it's supposed to be translucent. We should see the pink glitter because of the glossy accents, but we should also see the green foil behind it. So let's do that. See, you guys, the card's all made, but because I talked to you for so long, this video is still going to be at least a half hour long. Oh, so what I wanted to tell you guys, I'll tell you while I'm filling out these letters, is I also chose not to get the Simon Says stamp kit. I don't know if I told you that. I might have, but I hadn't ordered anything else yet. I did not choose to get it. I was bored. I didn't really like the stamp set that was in the kit. I feel like I have a lot of flower and floral stamp sets similar to that, and I also feel like it was very similar to last year's kit in the spring. So I opted not to get it, and I just purchased 3 spa colors from Catherine Pooler's ink set. I think Stone Blue, Sea Foam, because I already have a spruce that I think will go well with the Sea Foam, and Juniper Mist. And I wanted to get the hexagon stamp set that just came out in her release today, but I waited till after I came home from grocery shopping and got the kids in bed. I even had it in my cart. By the time I went to place my order, that stamp set was sold out. So I guess I'm gonna have to wait till I can afford to get that again, if they bring it back. So I ended up getting the Cabana tile dies, or hexagon dies. The Cabana tile dies, I think they're called, instead, because I was trying to go for something different. I didn't want to do tropical. I didn't want to do flowers. I want something different to work with this time around. Also because that wasn't the only order I placed. I also placed an order with Alta New because I've never tried their products before. And I bought 2 stamp sets. They gave me a free stamp set, and I bought 2 stencils. So that'll keep a surprise, and I'll show you guys what I got. So I will be making cards with all of that stuff and the stuff I have not used yet that I just bought instead of the Hero Arts kit. And I'll make my videos out of that this month. Also, maybe it'll be more videos if this stuff with my mom gets all situated. Maybe I can make some more videos because it's not just a kit. It's just different stamp sets by different companies. So I'm excited about doing that, starting to work with other things besides kits. All right, I'm just looking for a piece of paper here, so it's not all over my glass mat and I can just pour it back in. Alright, so we've got the glossy accents on. Now I'm going to flip this upside down because after I'm going to kind of hold it up when I spray it so that the glitter doesn't stick to all my flowers. Now, If you have a splat box, I recommend you use a splat box. My box is too big to put here while I'm filming. So I'm just gonna do it like this. I'm also gonna put something here so it kind of like acts as a backsplash, you know, kind of like a box. And I'm gonna tip this just a tiny bit so I can squirt this on here and not get it all over the flowers. Oh. Now, if you guys have the glitter duster, you know that it doesn't flip out, it flips side to side. Now I'm trying also to not move that glossy accents around too much. That's why you see me tipping the card this way and that. See, and then I ended up tipping it this way anyway, but that glossy accents ended up. Alright, so because I don't want to move any more of that glossy accents around, I'm kind of going to just let that stay like that, and then I'll brush off any excess that's on the card once that glossy accents hardens. Let me just clean this up and I'll give you guys a quick look at that card. Alright. I'm gonna have to hide that too because my kids will be all over that. Excuse the glare while I move this foam pad real quick. Oh, you guys, holding this piece of cardboard in my hand also makes me realize that I have not done any cards with the Roaring 20s kit that I won from Hero Arts yet. So I would be doing that hopefully soon as well. I probably would have had that done. I mean, I'm not going to make a full 10 cards, but I was going to make at least 4 or 5. I just totally forgot about it with everything that's been going on. So I will definitely do that as well. Why don't you guys just let me know what you would rather see first? Easter cards, the neat and tangled stuff, the stuff that I still have coming in the mail, alcohol, background cards from all the backgrounds I've already done, or the Roaring 20s cards. I mean, I guess those aren't really a rush, seeing as how most of you probably have done your cards already. Alright, so let's take a look at this glitter right here. Still seems a little wet, so maybe this stuff takes longer to dry, or like I said, maybe it's because I used more in this one than I did in the other one. So I will check back with you guys on this and let you know if it stayed like wet like that or if it eventually dried out. Unfortunately, it's going to have to dry in this little clear plastic bowl now, because if I don't put it in a bowl, the kids will be playing with it. Okay, and let me give you guys a close-up of this. I don't know if I can really tell that there's pink in there, but that's something that'll probably have to wait until it dries. I can tell you it definitely looks better than that smudgy foil. So we'll let that dry, and I'll let you guys know. I think that's it. Until next time, knock on wood, say a couple prayers for me about my mom and about getting that car that I so desperately need. Until then, I will see you guys soon. Talk to you in the next video. Bye-bye.